Hello, so I'm going to be continuing my review of Germany in this video. I'm thinking that it might also have to be done in parts because I don't imagine myself getting to everything that I need to get to today in this one video. And what I'm going to be covering today are some of the things that I forgot to mention in the last video, challenges, if I can fit them in, highlights, and the things that I've learned. Probably the things that I've learned will have to fit into the third video. But before I get into that, I don't think it would be honest of me to just go on with this review without mentioning my state or my emotional, physical state at the moment. I'm feeling very tired, and it's not a physical tiredness. I'm just feeling emotionally and physically drained. And I think it's mainly from all the things that I've just had to deal with in the past year, in the last few months, especially with the trauma that I dealt with the whole drama at Starbucks and just other jobs that just weren't treating me okay. So I do feel low-key depressed. But before this gets too depressing, I'm going to start with the things that I forgot to mention in the last video. So one of the things I forgot to mention in the last video is that I feel that I am safer here in Kleve than in Johannesburg or Pietermaritzburg or any other place that I've lived in South Africa. I can walk alone at night as a woman. I can travel alone. There's no one hitting on you here, telling you how much they love you, how gorgeous you are. And that could also be a downside for some people, but for me, I'm like, van goeds. The thing is that was striking for me when I first got here is that there are no fences, or basically no fences, no walls. So it's basically just a little gate. Yeah, it's basically someone's yard. And coming from South Africa, I was like, what? And another thing is that if you leave or lose something, you're most likely to find it where you left it, or someone takes it to the lost and found. But I don't know, maybe that's just university and the real world, it's different, but that's has been my experience so far. And also, I can use my phone in public, especially with the vlog that I did in the Netherlands. I don't know if I would have been able to be that free, or to do it in Johannesburg, for example. So, yeah, that's definitely something that I could add. So the next thing I'm going to speak about is the university. When I arrived at Hochschule Rhein-Waal, which is the university that I go to, I thought the campus was pretty nice. It's also quite international. I met a lot of people from different countries that I had heard of in South Africa, but people from those countries I had never met. I was really impressed with my study course, Gender and Diversity Studies, but I was already impressed with it before. For those who don't know what Gender and Diversity Studies is, you're part of quite a lot of people. And I will do a special video explaining what that is and what I study in there. But anyway, just for now, know that I enjoyed it. And in my first semester, I was doing really well at school. I had a really forgiving schedule, which meant that I didn't have school on Monday and Friday, which meant long weekend every weekend, which was very beneficial because 2 months after I moved to Germany, my boyfriend that I mentioned in the first video, who I had moved with from South Africa here to Germany, he was diagnosed with stage 4 skin cancer that had spread to his liver, which meant that it was full of tumors and they couldn't operate, and his only options were chemo at the time and something called immunotherapy. If you guys want to know what those are all about, you can just Google them. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock because I was also still trying to find my feet, still trying to register, still trying to find a place here in Kleve, because as I'd mentioned before, I was staying in Cologne. So yeah, that was very difficult to hear for a while. I couldn't really believe it because I've always heard of cancer from afar. I've it's always pretty much been, you know, a question of mine or a fear of mine as to how I would deal with a partner who is going through something so serious. And, you know, would I be able to survive, you know, that sort of an experience? And yeah, it was very difficult. We had a lot of plans that we had made before I came here, and when I was here within the first 2 months. And slowly but surely, we had to start canceling those plans because he was getting weaker and weaker. And I also had a lot to juggle at the time, as I said, which is also why the being free on Monday and Friday was very helpful, because we weren't also living together. He lived 9 hours one way, so 18 hours there and back. And here we thought it would actually be better for us to be in the same country because there wouldn't be as much travel time. But I think in that time one could even travel to South Africa and back. But I guess we saved on the cost. To add to that, me and his father had our differences, which also made visiting him, because he had to move back into his parents' place, very difficult. And I really felt that there were a lot of people who were involved in our relationship now because of his condition. When he passed away, obviously, I was very depressed. I'm still very much affected by the whole experience of him passing away, and just the drama that was happening with his father. That was also very sad. And as I speak now, the mother-in-law of a friend of mine, she also just passed away from her 3-year battle with cancer today, actually. So it sort of brings everything back, and yeah, it's not something that one ever gets over. I am always sad deep down, you know. It's just there's a silence there within me. Just also makes everything else that I'm dealing with that much harder, because I'm still having to deal with that. And as I'd said, we've been together dating for over 4 years, friends for almost 6 years. So this is someone who has been in my life for quite a while. And I don't really often speak about it, so a few people might actually even be, you know, surprised that I mention it in this video. But, you know, as I said, I was just reminded by the passing of the friend's mother-in-law, and I don't know, it's a sense of camaraderie, and also because it's part of the year that I've had and I'm doing my year's review, I thought I'd mention it for other people who might be going through the same situation or going through difficulties that, yeah, it's tough, really. You feel like you won't make it, but eventually you do make it through somehow. And that's one thing I hold on to, that through probably what I thought was the worst thing that could happen to me, I made it through. Do I have anything to show for it? No, not really, except the fact that I'm here. And right now, that's not really nice, to be quite honest. So, yeah, some mixed feelings. Unfortunately, I've run out of time in this video, but I'm going to continue with the other stuff that I'd spoken about in the next video. If you guys have any questions for me, any experiences, any of your own experiences that you would like to share of Germany, please comment about them. Of course, we can always talk in private, but I guess it's good for other people who don't know you as a friend personally to also engage in that conversation. So yeah, I'll see you later.